Está no ar mais um Capital Humano, ter os conselhos especialistas norte-americanos nos Estados Unidos, o país que é considerado a pátria do empreendedorismo em todo o mundo. Conseguir um financiamento de $12.500 em capital de semente para arrancar com o seu próprio negócio. Estes são alguns dos prémios dos vencedores do concurso StartMeUp, um concurso de empreendedorismo que é apoiado pela Embaixada dos Estados Unidos. No Capital Humano temos hoje o representante máximo do país em Portugal, o embaixador Allan Katz, para nos falar deste projeto. First of all, I want to ask you, what is the main goal of this competition, StartMeUp? Why do you support this competition?
Well, we believe that because the United States and Portugal are such good allies, and because we want to be able to learn from each other, we believe that in the United States we have been very successful as entrepreneurs. Many people have done very, very well because of new ideas, and we believe that the people in Portugal have all of the capacity, the education, the ability to do this, and to the extent that we can help move more people into this type of thinking, we think it will be very, very good for Portugal.
And who can compete of this competition, and what is the prizes? What they win?
Okay, we're talking about people from students throughout Portugal, and we're also talking about two prizes of $12,500 each will be awarded. And we will have more information on this as time goes by, but it is our hope that between that and between the American Corners program that we're also promoting, that we will have an opportunity to reward people who have worked very hard to come up with a new idea. And what we have found in the United States is what makes things work for young people in the United States is the willingness to take a chance, to do something that maybe someone else isn't doing, and to try to do something that is not normal. And so, and for many, many people, they try something, they fail. They try again, they fail. They try, they succeed. And as I often tell people in Portugal, for every successful entrepreneur in the United States, almost every one of them failed once or twice
two times
before
yes.
they were successful.
Yes.
So our hope is that we can inspire people here in Portugal to not be afraid of failing. It's okay. It doesn't make, it's just, you know, it's the way we learn.
And you can go up again.
Yes, yes, and we think that really, it's so important. When I speak at college campuses around Portugal, and I do that a great deal, students come up to me and they say, you know, we have trouble finding jobs here, we have trouble, our economy is not doing so well, we're thinking of going abroad. And what I always say to them is, do you love your country? And if you love your country, you really need to stay. You need to stay and create something. You have to create something. And it's easier for me to say than it is for them to do. I understand that.
Yes.
But at the same time, what happens is that it is this type of entrepreneurial spirit that changes things. And Portugal has a great history of having done things that no one else had ever done. And it seems to me that this is the type of thing that if the Portuguese people could overcome many things that they've had to overcome before now, they can do this too.
So do you think one of the answers to the high unemployment rates of young people can be young people start their own business?
Absolutely. And I think that what happens is that when that starts to happen, more and more things begin to happen, because if they start their own business, and if they can, one, it creates a job for them, it creates an opportunity for someone else maybe to work for them. Those people then need to find a place to live so that an apartment is rented. And it's the way you grow your economy. And it doesn't all happen at once. And there's no one magic formula. Everyone needs to recognize that we all sort of have this common responsibility. And I have great faith in the Portuguese people and Portuguese young people. I think that I always tell people, I speak a great deal throughout Portugal, the best questions that are ever asked of me are always asked by students at the universities.
Portuguese university?
Yes.
So do you think that can be one of the solutions for the Portuguese crisis?
I think it's a significant part.
Investing in
for two reasons. One is that it deals with some of the immediate youth unemployment problems. Mm-hmm. But more importantly, that as Portugal moves its way through this process and through this crisis, Portugal will need more businesses, not fewer businesses, more ideas, more innovative approaches to the way to deal with the economy. And the more business people you have who are doing different things, and particularly because the world changes so quickly. I told someone yesterday, we have this globalization of the economy, which maybe none of us like very much some of the time. But whether we like it or not doesn't matter. It's here. We have to deal with it.
We have to live it.
We have to live with it, and basically Portugal has so many wonderful things to offer. It is my belief that if we have greater opportunities for entrepreneurship among the younger people here in Portugal, it will be to Portugal's benefit.
In the past, we have been very entrepreneurs, but today is different. What do you think is missing to the Portuguese people to be more entrepreneurs?
Well, I think that when you see it in Portugal, and which is different with the United States, is that in the United States, the cost of failure is contained. In other words, if you borrow money, you start a business, the business fails. You have to pay back the money, but that's all. Then you can start again. In Portugal, the laws were much more difficult in terms of the financial side. I think the government has made some changes, which makes that easier. But I think culturally, the idea of failing in business in Portugal is much more of a...
it's like a stigma.
Yeah, I was going to say, mais vergonha in Portugal than in the United States. In the United States, it's not that everyone is proud to fail, but everyone understands that even though you did everything right, the circumstances around you could have created that problem.
And do you think that's the secret of the United States to be the land of the entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I think what's happened is this. I think that in America, everyone believes that that they could start not everyone, many people believe they can start their own business. If they can't find a job, they try to do something on their own. And it can be a very small business, a very small enterprise. But we've seen in the United States people who started with very small enterprises grow them into very big businesses. And I think that part of that is, there's some of that, which we would call the American dream, that there are people in America who say, that could be me, And so I have an idea. And I want to try to turn my idea into a business and see if it works. And I think that it is one of the great strengths of America. There are some things that
the good examples of entrepreneurs.
I mean, if you take someone if you look at Microsoft began in a garage.
Yes.
And today, of course, it's one of the great companies of the world.
In the world, yes.
You have you have many examples that were smaller than that. There was, when I grew up in the Midwestern part of the United States, there was a chain of drugstores which began with two brothers. They had a newspaper stand at the train station, but they took it and then they made some money and then they grew it and they opened one pharmacy, and then before they knew it, they were throughout the state. So it happens. It can happen, and it can happen here. Absolutely.
It can happen also in Portugal. Absolutely. It's possible. During this competition, the students have the possibility of being. Have some lectures of the best entrepreneurs in the United States. Yes?
That's correct.
During all the process.
They will be coming to the United States, the ones who win. And I know in the American Corners competition, people will be submitting an 8-minute video of their idea. Mm-hmm. I think sometime late in February is when the end of the submissions.
Okay.
And we are very hopeful, and that that this program will get some very interesting ideas out there and be very good. And then the StartMeUp will hopefully be an additional program which will create more opportunities for more people. And we are trying very hard. We are all living at a time when governments do not have the amount of money they used to have. Mm-hmm. We cannot all do the things that we would like to be able to do. So we have to be creative. We have to say, what are the great things that we have that can make a difference? It's one of the things that I always tell my friends here in Portugal, that Portugal is a place that does not get a large number of American tourists. And the only reason is because Americans don't know very much about Portugal.
That's true.
And the reality is that because everyone that I know who has visited me here since we've been here
loved the country.
They want to move to Portugal. They love Portugal.
Yes.
Right.
But do you think that is not very known in the
No,
United States? Some people think Portugal is a part of Spain.
Yes.
There's lots of stories like that.
Right. But I think what happens is and I think, and I've talked to the various tourism people about this. I think if they focus their attention on parts of the United States where there are not Portuguese people, mm-hmm. As I said, Portuguese Americans, they already know about Portugal. You don't need to worry about them. You need to sort of focus other places, and I think that because Americans travel a lot, and Portugal is an ideal place to come. And I think that it has all the things that Americans are looking for. They're looking for a place where the food is good, where the weather is good, where the wine is good, where people are very friendly, where they can get around in English and where they're safe. And
so
that's
Portugal is the right place.
Portugal is all of those places. That's exactly right.
You have lots of partnerships with universities, Portuguese universities. The American Corner is one of them.
Right. And we have other programs. We have joint programs with Carnegie Mellon, and we have and MIT and the University of Texas,
yes.
And Harvard Medical School, and we also we are promoting American students coming to study in Portugal. We found out that there's something like 150,000 American students study in Europe every year, but only 220 were coming to Portugal, which was only 10 more than Iceland. So, yes. Working with the Luso-American Foundation, with FLAD,
to attract more students.
We are trying to put a clearinghouse so that people who are interested in coming to Portugal have one place to go and they can get information about many universities in Portugal. And we've explained to some of the Portuguese universities that working with some of the programs that recruit students out of American universities to come here will be helpful. So we're very hopeful that that will take place. In fact, I just met with the faculty about 2 weeks ago in the University of Porto, and there were about 50 faculty members, and I walked them through some ideas that I thought would increase the number of students, American students that would come to Portugal. Yes.
With the unemployment rate of youth very high, 4 in 10 students, 10 young people don't have work, do you think trying to go to the United States to work is an opportunity for Portuguese people?
Well, I think the problem there is of course that we have our own youth unemployment problems in the United States. Also?
But not so big as in Portugal.
It's not so high, but it all depends on what you're used to, you know. And so from the United States perspective, it's still high, and getting work visas is never as easy as unless people have a particular skill set that the United States needs. What I would say is that that is probably not a particularly long-term solution. But as we go through immigration reform, and when we're through with that, and I believe the United States government will pass.
Because Republicans and Democrats have a deal now with the immigration reform.
What they do is there are a set of principles that 8 people have agreed to, which is a long way until we see what the final details are.
Okay.
But once that's done, I think that at that point
it will be more easy to go to the United States to work.
I think we'll be able to look at what the real opportunities are, and for some people there may be opportunities that don't exist today.
And about how are the relationships between the United States and Portugal? Economic relations, are they growing in the last years?
Well, I think first of all we have to remember it's a very old relationship. I mean, Portugal recognized the United States in 1791.
Okay.
The longest consecutive consulate for the United States anywhere in the world is in the Azores. So we have a very long and proud tradition of the two countries working very closely together, and both countries are facing economic challenges now, which makes some things more difficult. But I think that we understand that if it's good for Portugal, it's generally good for the United States. And if it's good for the United States, it's generally good for Portugal. We are great allies diplomatically, militarily, and we're both founding members of NATO. The relationship continues to be extremely strong, and from the United States perspective, we have no better friend in Europe than Portugal.
Okay. It's the best friend you have in Europe, Portugal, do you think?
Portugal is as good a friend as we have in Europe, yes, ma'am.
And do you think businessmen in the United States look at Portugal as a land where they can invest?
Well, I think that they're starting to, we are working very hard to encourage them to come and to look at Portugal, because we think there are some great opportunities that would be good for United States businesses and also would be good for Portugal. And as a matter of fact, we have a group of businessmen coming out to the Azores starting on Saturday night. They'll be there for 4 days and in Lisbon for 2 days. And our goal is to sort of encourage them to look at what all the possibilities might be so they can report back, not only share it with the Portuguese government, but also to share it with American businesses.
So maybe they can start new opportunities.
We are continuing to work on that. And it is one of those things, nothing would make me happier than seeing more Americans investing in Portugal.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you for coming to my program, Capital Humano. Allan Katz, ele que é embaixador dos Estados Unidos em Portugal, já sabe, pode conhecer mais oportunidades de emprego e formação no suplemento Universidades e Emprego, todas as segundas-feiras, no Diário Económico. Voltamos na próxima edição com mais um Capital Humano, o recurso mais importante de qualquer empresa ou economia de sucesso.